Welcome everybody to the show. On this week's episode of Whether or Not, we have some nature in the news stories, one about the first ever photo of a black hole, another about a minor planet being renamed, and Matt Hoenig has a feature for you about a Penn State meteorology professor's research on thunderstorms. Whether or Not starts right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. So Jacob, what are we going to see this weekend for our blue and white game?
Well, it is the blue and white game on Saturday, and we should have some nice weather for the game, so go out and enjoy some nice spring scrimmage football.
Nice. Okay, so up next, nature in the news. We have all heard of people buying a certificate and naming a star in space, but have you ever been given the opportunity to name a planet? A minor planet was discovered 10 years ago, given a default name of 2007 OR10. 3 of the astronomers who discovered the minor planet are currently running a campaign asking the public to partake in the naming process. They have 3 recommended names for the public to choose from. The first name being Gong Gong, which is named after a Chinese water god with red hair. The second suggested name, Hyodle, a European winter goddess of fertility and rebirth. The last suggested name, my personal favorite, Vili. The name Vili is named after a Nordic deity. The 2007 OR10 is estimated to be around 777 miles in diameter, making it smaller than Pluto and categorizing it as a dwarf planet. The planet has one of the reddest surfaces in the solar system, but it's mainly made out of water ice. The campaign of naming the planet ends on May 10, 2019.
Heavy rain earlier this week in Rio de Janeiro killed at least 10 people and left a trail of destruction in Brazil's second largest city. Officials say that 6 inches of rain fell in just 4 hours on Monday night, which is more than the average rainfall for the entire month of April in Rio. Rivers of water gushed down streets in the city, sweeping up cars and uprooting trees, as well as triggering numerous landslides. Firefighters tried to save as many people as they could from flooded cars, as well as from cars and homes that were buried in mudslides. A state of emergency was declared as sirens sounded in 20 flood-prone areas of the city, telling people to get to pre-established safe places. However, no alarm was sounded in one of the hillside slums of Rio, where 2 women died in a mudslide due to the heavy rain. Local residents complained about how no warning was issued there, and the mayor acknowledges that the city's lack of preparedness for this extreme weather needs to be addressed. Hillside slums are some of the most vulnerable areas to mudslides, so the mayor of Rio hopes to improve the safety of residents living in these areas if federal funding is granted. This is the second deadly excessive rainfall event in just 2 months for Rio, which has prompted residents to question whether the city is prepared enough for more extreme weather events in the future.
A new space weather model being developed is said to be able to help give a 24-hour warning before a storm of charged particles from the sun bombards important weather satellites stationed in space. Storms of charged particles have the capacity to completely knock out crucial satellites. These storms of particles are a type of space weather. This space weather system is when particles smack into Earth's magnetic field. Being able to predict these storms of electrons will be incredibly beneficial, giving controllers the time to prepare for the damage. If the space storm is able to be predicted, controllers will be able to either move the satellite out of the way or turn them off completely to lessen the shock the satellite experiences. This model is still in the testing stages, but scientists are hopeful in producing a successful product that makes these predictions possible.
On Wednesday morning, scientists released the first ever picture of a black hole, giving us the first direct visual evidence that black holes actually do exist. The image was captured using a global network of telescopes called the Event Horizon Telescope Collaboration, which scientists have been working on for more than a decade. The image captured by the telescopes is of a supermassive black hole and its shadow at the center of a giant galaxy that's more than 50 million light years away, called Messier 87. The black hole that was captured is massive, containing the same mass as roughly 6.5 million suns. At the center of the image is the black hole itself, which is surrounded by the event horizon, which extends at least 7 billion miles around the supermassive black hole. The event horizon is the boundary beyond which not even light can escape. The bright ring around the black hole and the event horizon is called the accretion disk. This is a massive disk of superheated gas and dust that likely spins near light speed, and this is matter that the black hole feeds off of to get bigger and bigger over time. Since the matter in this accretion disk is going very fast, if it's coming towards us, it will look much brighter than if it's going away, which is a process known as Doppler beaming. This is what causes one side of the ring to look brighter than the other side in the image. Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Jacob Morse here with your Central Pennsylvania forecast. One half of the weekend, the first half is going to be very nice for the blue and white game on Saturday, but unfortunately big changes are in store for the second half of your weekend, and I'll have more details on that in a little bit. But first, starting off with Friday, this is the system that impacted the upper plains in the Midwest with blizzard-like conditions in the middle of the week, and it will be tracking into our area by the day on Friday. This rain won't arrive in Center County until the early to mid-afternoon, so the morning looks to be quite nice here for your day on Friday, but then periods of rain throughout the rest of the afternoon and into the evening hours on Friday as this system swings through the state. Then on Saturday, that system moves off to the east. Some lingering showers possible in the eastern half of the state early on Saturday morning. But then the whole state clears out, a mixture of clouds and sunshine. Very warm temperatures on Saturday, well above their average for this time of year. But then big changes in store for Sunday as the system comes up from the Gulf, bringing a lot of moisture associated with it. We'll be seeing periods of rain across the state for the day on Sunday. So if you have any weekend plans, make sure you get them done on Saturday, as Sunday looks to be rather wet across our area. For the day on Friday, we'll see a temperature of 64 degrees. That rain will move in by the early to mid-afternoon, and then it will stick around for the overnight hours on Friday. Most of it will be done by the midnight hour with a low of 51 degrees on Friday night. So if you have any evening plans on Friday, make sure you bring the rain gear with you. Then changes in store for Saturday will be nice and dry for the blue and white game with a blue and white sky. 72 degrees for your high on Saturday, well above our average for this time of year if you're heading out for the blue and white game. 3 p.m. kickoff, 70 degrees at kickoff, so go out and enjoy some tailgates and then some spring football out at Beaver Stadium. Then on Sunday, make sure you have the umbrella or the rain jacket with you because we'll be seeing a high of 57 degrees with plenty of rain throughout the day. Some areas of Pennsylvania could see upwards of 1 inch to even 1.5 inches of rain throughout the day on Sunday. So it looks to be a washout for the second half of your weekend. Coming up next, Matt Hoenig has a feature on Dr. Kumjian's research of thunderstorms.
Now that spring has finally arrived, we start to say goodbye to cold spells and snowstorms and say hello to warmer weather, budding flowers and trees, and thunderstorms. Thunderstorms are great, especially for the environment. Without thunderstorms, summers would be hot and drought-stricken. But unfortunately, some thunderstorms can turn violent and even deadly. To explain how thunderstorms form, I sat down with Dr. Matt Kumjian, an assistant research professor of meteorology here at Penn State and an avid thunderstorm researcher.
Well, there's a few ingredients for thunderstorms. You need moisture, so you need to have water vapor in the air and good amounts, and that's what's going to help create your clouds and your precipitation. You also need instability, which is the name we use for the fuel for thunderstorms, and that basically allows these bubbles of air that are rising to remain positively buoyant, which basically means that they can continue to rise once they start producing clouds and precipitation. And then you need some sort of lift or triggering mechanism to set everything in motion in order to get those bubbles of air to start their ascent. And if those ingredients come together, then you can get clouds and eventually precipitation, and if it's a strong enough storm, you get lightning and things like that to form.
Oftentimes, April and May are referred to as prime tornado season in the United States. The right combination of atmospheric conditions helps to fuel severe thunderstorms, especially in the Great Plains, in a place called Tornado Alley.
According to the National Weather Service, severe thunderstorms are any thunderstorm that contains either of the following: severe wind gusts, which are in excess of 50 knots, hail the size of 1 inch or greater, and or a tornado is traditionally the definition of severe thunderstorms. In the springtime, you've got plenty of moisture that starts to come back when you have things like the low-level jet to kick in, and you allow that moisture from the Gulf to come into the central part of the U.S. But then you also have the lifting mechanism, which oftentimes takes the form of upper-level dynamics, things associated with the jet stream. And so it's that time of year that the jet stream is in the right order, in the right locations to produce those thunderstorms. And then the instability is also starting to fuel. You start to get warmer, you get more heating, and you get those ingredients just come together at that time of year.
Dr. Kumjian has been on several research trips where he and his team chase thunderstorms in order to collect and study large hailstones.
In 2012, I was in the Texas Panhandle, and we were going out to try to put an instrument in front of a hailstorm and basically observe the hail that was impacting the instrument. And we put it down. It was a type of pad that we put down that's going to measure the impacts of the hailstones. And we got about golf ball sized hail, and we thought we were successful, but we got a little bit greedy and thought maybe we could drive through the storm, get out in front of it again, and put that pad out again. And in that time, the hail had grown to be over the size of baseballs. And so as we were driving through, we totally smashed out my windshield. We had glass coming in the car, and so we pretty much had to end the chase at that point.
One important thing to remember this spring season: when thunder roars, head indoors. For Weather or Not, I'm Matt Hoenig.
Hello everyone, I'm back with your extended forecast after we'll see a lot of rain for the day on Sunday. We'll see some drier conditions to start your next week, so that's something to look forward to. But first, here's your weekend recap. Some afternoon showers expected on Friday, and those will linger into the evening hours. A high of 64 expected on Friday, and then warming up to well above our average for the day on Saturday for the blue and white game. A mixture of clouds and sunshine, but then wetter conditions for Sunday. Plenty of rain expected with a high only in the mid to upper 50s. And all that rain on Sunday, some of it will linger into the day on Monday. Temperature on Monday right around our average for this time of year. Tuesday and Wednesday look to be dry here in central Pennsylvania, with temperatures warming up to the mid to upper 60s by the time we get to the middle of the week, and then rain expected by the time we get towards the end of the week, with showers for the day on Thursday, and then periods of rain expected for Friday.
So Jacob, it's so nice to hear that we're going to have some drier weather after that wet conditions on Sunday.
Yeah, it looks like next week will be dry for at least the first half of the week before another system approaches by the end of the week. And some good news for people that don't want winter to make a comeback: we won't be seeing any snow in the extended forecast period.
Speaking of snow, your weather whiz quiz question for this weekend: what is the average last day for snowfall in State College? A, April 2nd, B, April 15th, C, April 28th, or D, May 3rd? And if you said C, April 28th, then you would have been correct.
So we do have a couple more weeks to see some snowflakes falling from the sky, since that average last date of snowfall measured here in State College doesn't occur until April 28th. But looking at that extended forecast, it doesn't look like we'll be seeing any snow, at least in the short term here in State College.
That's what I like to hear personally. I don't know about you, but...
Yeah, I'm okay with it transitioning to spring now, since winters should be over by this time of year, and we should be seeing some warmer temperatures.
I was really hoping it wasn't going to be May 3rd.
Yeah.
That would have made me upset.
Yeah.
Well, that's all for this week's episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Jordyn, Jenna.
And I'm your forecaster, Jacob Morse.
Have a nice night, everyone.